what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, finally a physique update from Goodvito, and he also lays out his plans for the 2025 competitive season. It's been a while since we've seen him. He had a hell of a pro debut at the Detroit Pro against Martin Fitzwater earlier this year, and now we've seen what Martin was able to go on to do at the Olympia, placing top 4, runner-up to Nick Walker at the New York Pro, then defeating Chris Bumstead, one of only 4 men in Chris's career to do so. So Goodvito being that close and having that battle with Martin in Detroit, I think puts him in a similar trajectory as Martin if he's able to win a show and get to the Olympia. So I think he's an important guy to talk about when it comes to stuff that might happen in 2025 as far as, fast rising stars. I think Goodvito could be that guy. So it looks like, according to his post today, he's got a pretty active competitive plan for 2025, starting with the Arnold Classic Brazil, and then the Pittsburgh Pro, and then the New York Pro. So it looks like 2025 he's going to be making a pretty serious run to try to qualify for the Olympia. And I'm assuming he's doing all 3 of those shows, whether he wins the first one or not. But I think he's a guy to definitely keep our eye on going into this new year of bodybuilding because, like I said, the rivalry with Martin, I feel like people forget how close that was in Detroit, and I'm assuming he's made some improvements since then. And Martin seems to be kind of the next big thing right now with these recent, the thing with Chris Bumstead, the Olympia, Martin's kind of on top of the world right now. And I think Goodvito has the potential to do something similar as far as a crazy Olympia debut. Keep in mind, Martin's top 4 placing at the Olympia, that was his debut. And I think if anybody else has the potential right now for their first time at the Olympia to crack not only the top 10, but potentially the top 6, I think Goodvito might be that guy. And speaking of Martin, it looks like we're going to see a rematch between him and Goodvito because Martin has also confirmed he's going to be doing the Pittsburgh Pro 2025, which, by the way, the Pittsburgh Pro is now introducing men's open bodybuilding into their lineup. And I got to say, I'm really impressed with Martin. He's already qualified for the Olympia. Realistically, he doesn't need to do anything else for the rest of the year. He could just shut it down and focus on the Olympia, but he's on kind of a hot streak right now, and he's going to continue to compete, which I think is impressive, and I wish really more pros would do that. There's so many guys that just do well at the Olympia, qualify, shut it down for the rest of the year. I like guys like Martin, guys like Samson that do a bunch of these shows and really prove they're professional bodybuilders. They're doing their job. Showing up once a year isn't good enough for them. They want more, and I think that's why so many people like Martin right now, is he's already proven himself. He's qualified, but he wants more. And I also think the fact that it's not only the Pittsburgh show, but potentially 2 other shows, FIBO and Dubai, I think is legitimately impressive. Again, he's qualified. He doesn't have to do anything. And he's already talking about potentially 3 more shows. But he's not doing the Arnold Classic, apparently. But I really think I'm most excited for the Martin and Goodvito rematch. I think those guys are going to be a big part of the overall bodybuilding storyline in 2025. Just based on Martin's performance this year, I think he's going to continue to deliver some really impressive competitive packages. And I think Goodvito will too. And I think they're going to be a really big part of the storyline for 2025. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, we got the first off-season update from Derek Lunsford. And this is also the first update that we've gotten since the announcement that Hani Rambod, his coach, has retired. And I think that this will also be a very interesting storyline for 2025. Not just Derek, but Hadi as well. It's going to answer the question, to some extent, how much of Derek's look, and just a champion's look in general, is attributed to the coach versus the athlete. Because Hani Rambod is arguably one of the greatest coaches of all time. And he brought Derek from 212 to winning the Open Olympia in a matter of just less than 2 years. But there's always kind of that discussion of, well, these guys are so genetically gifted, almost anybody could coach them and they would do well regardless. And I think we're going to see that question or that discussion put to the test a little bit with Derek and Hadi. We still don't know officially who their new coaches are or if it's going to be the same coach for both of them. So I think with Derek in particular, the fact that he slipped to third place this year, he lost his Olympia title. What's going to happen when Derek gets a new coach at the Olympia next year? Will he continue to slip, or will he be able to potentially gain placings and regain his Olympia title with a new coach? I think that's going to be interesting to watch. And the same thing with Nick Walker. We know who his coach is. We know he's no longer with Matt Jansen. And we saw already a little glimpse of what this is going to look like with Sean Clarita going to Boss of Outlaw. I think Sean looked way better than he did at the Olympia at the Prague show. And that was a very short time with a new coach. So I think we're going to have a lot of interesting things to watch in the year coming up. And I think these coaching situations, these two major coaches that retired this year, Matt Jansen and Hani Rambod, all of their athletes are still really at the top. Nick Walker, even though he's getting a lot of hate right now and hasn't competed at the Olympia for 2 years, he's still one of the top guys. It's going to be interesting to see his look without Matt. And I think Derek and Hadi obviously are still two of the top guys. They're still top 3 Olympians. And it's going to be interesting to see, A, who they work with, and B, how their look changes or maybe stays the same. And I think it'll be a little bit more interesting with Derek. Not that Derek isn't a hard worker, but I think with Hadi has been so consistent with getting in shape. He clearly is just willing to do whatever it takes to bring that crazy conditioning. I don't think that we're ever going to see Hadi come in, regardless of who he's working with, looking off. I think Hadi is always going to bring something close to that conditioning because Hadi just strikes me as an insanely hard worker that just has crazy work ethic. Because that's what it takes to bring the conditioning that he brings over and over and over and over again. Derek hasn't been tested as much as Hadi has. Hadi's been bringing that conditioning to the Olympia for over half a decade now. So I kind of feel like a new coach isn't going to impact Hadi as much as it will Derek. And also, Derek had a longtime coach that wasn't Hani, and then when he started working with Hani was when he won the 212 Olympia, then switched to Open and was runner-up, and then the winner of the Open Olympia. So you could argue that Hani was the one that made a lot of that happen, but we're going to see that kind of answered definitively with what happens with Derek this year and a new coach. But Derek does have insane genetics, and you can see even in off-season shape, he maintains that small waist, the crazy V-taper. But it seems like it might be a little bit harder for Derek to get in shape compared to Hadi. So I'm very interested to watch what transpires with him in 2025. But let's get into the main story of the day now. The competitor list for the Bigman weekend, the last show of the year, which is this weekend, December 1st, just got released. And it's a long, long competitor list. So let's go through this here. You've got some pretty big names in here, some guys that we haven't seen in a while that I'm excited to see again. It includes Marco Aquino, Andrea Balzani, Lewis Breed back for this show, Roberto Bonomo, Adolf Berghardt, Malik Sisla, Yuan He, Marc Hector, who I'm really excited to see back on stage. He looks like he's put on a ton of size. I'll show him after this competitor list. Matthias Holwick, who just did very, very well in Prague. Horse MD, who also did well in Prague. Mark Joyce, Tian Kai, Simon Lada, Harry Lehner, Pablo Lopez, Emmanuel Longoria, Emir Omaragic coming back for the Bigman Pro. Andrea Presti coming back. Edu Rodriguez, Jan Turek, Alexandru Vasily Uta, Edgar Valencia, Akim Williams, Christian Wolski coming back for this show, Gu Shangwan, and Chen Zhu. So this is the last show of 2024, the last chance for a very early Olympia qualification for 2025, and it's a packed lineup. I think this show is going to deliver us a really nice send-off for the end of the year. There's a lot of guys in here. I think obviously the main guy to beat is going to be Akim Williams. These are the latest updates from Akim. And he looks crazy. He looks really, really good. Kind of a hard-fought loss to Rafael Brandao. Didn't get the qualification just a couple weeks ago. But he looked fantastic at that show. We've been seeing a really good version of Akim here lately. Top 10 at the Olympia. Almost won, but was beaten by Rafael Brandao. This is probably going to be his show to win. And the updates that we've been seeing from Akim lately, even though these are a couple days old, they're still about a week out. We're 5 days out from the show right now. Akim looks gnarly. He looks really, really good. And I'm definitely anticipating him to be the favorite to win here. Like I said, a lot of these guys we've seen recently, Christian Wolski, Horse MD, Andrea Presti, Matthias Holwick, who was top 4 in Prague, kind of unexpectedly, Emir Omaragic, but then Lewis Breed we haven't seen in a few months. That'll be exciting to see. And then Marc Hector we haven't seen in a while. He's been dealing with some injuries. I'll show you guys the latest update from Marc. Now, these were a couple of weeks ago. They were mid-November, but they're the most revealing recent updates that we've got. He's got a really impressive physique that kind of reminds me of Samson Dauda because he's very aesthetic. He's a little bit of a taller guy. And it looks like even despite the injury, he's put on quite a bit of size since the last time we saw him on stage. But I think he's just got a fantastic physique, and I'm really excited to see him back on stage. But I really think the main guys that I'm looking at here for the win, Akim, I think Lewis Breed is probably going to do really well here. Horse MD, it's kind of hard because Matthias did do really well in Prague. I'd say Akim, Matthias, Horse MD, Lewis, Emir, Marc, those are probably going to be your first call-out guys in this lineup. But I'm excited we've got one more show before the year is over. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What are your predictions for the Bigman weekend in Spain? I think it'll be Akim, but let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. That's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys, appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NickStrengthPower. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.